welcome all. Love the numbers. Special guest, Chuck Evans, joining Coleman Report Live. First day of spring today, yesterday. We're getting there. Hey, Chuck, I wanted to have you. Oh, Lance is not going to be with us this week. Unfortunately, he has some issues he needs to take care of.
And he's much better looking too. So,
well, that's why you and I are here to compete. Hey, the reason I want you here, Chuck, we got a lot of information. Tell us about what happened in Nashville, the Tennessee Lenders Conference. Give us a recap. And we have a bunch of big news. I'm going to let you take it away. Please start.
Thank you so much, Bob. I attended Nashville. It was the Small Business Lending Conference, which is put on by Jennifer at Eventfully Yours. She does a good job. There were probably a number of very interesting breakout sessions, and two of which stood out to me anyway. The Paris Audits, or the Paris Reviews, was hosted by Ethan Smith, and a relative newcomer to the conference is Eddie Ledford, who runs or is in charge of the reviewers at Okram. So it was a very, very...
I got to interrupt you because I always stump Lance with this. What does Paris stand for? What is the acronym?
Well, Okram is Office of Credit Risk Management.
I know what Okram is. I'm talking Paris. That was a nice deflection.
I forgot the name, so you're going to have to...
Assessment. Anyway, go ahead. I always do that with Lance.
Okay. Anyway, so that was a good conference. It was, a good breakout session. It was well attended. Eddie gave us the perspective of a reviewer, what's important to him, what's not as important.
And so what is his position? Is he with SBA? Is he a contractor?
He's with the SBA. He's with the Office of Credit Risk Management, and he supervises the reviewers that are going out and doing the reviews at the lender's location.
What did you learn from that presentation?
That he was a great, he looks at a lot of things that Paris Review, they've changed it to make it a little bit more client friendly. And so instead of saying, these are the things you're going to fail in, it was more of a positive approach and a more practical approach, which made me feel really good.
New that he said that's being tweaked for 2019?
No, just that you're going to have a review, and there's several types of reviews. Every 2 years, they're trying to touch all of the lenders. It's about this. It's just a new and improved department, if you will.
What are we see these charts. What are the things they are focusing upon?
Well, the portfolio performance, certainly the things that a lender is responsible for, comparing them to their peers, accuracy of 1502 reporting, all of the things that a good SBA lender has to be knowledgeable about.
By the way, I don't know where it is on our slide, but please download the training certificate that does answer the question SBA is asking for, as well as everyone else, what you're doing for training. And you're certainly spending 20, 25 minutes of your time learning about this stuff. And so make sure you download and keep track of this.
The other breakout session was hosted by Diana Seaborn and again Eddie Ledford, and it was a packed house. And my takeaway from that, this was on Form 159, but it started to get into packaging fees. And they were very good at the mechanics of filling out Form 159 and the mistakes that are being made. But my takeaway from that one is that there's still no clarity in the issue of packaging fees. What is a packaging fee? How much can be charged and by whom? I mean, the current regs, in my opinion, leave way too much for interpretation. I am a firm believer in the smell test. If it smells fishy, you just don't go down that path. But what's happened, this packed house of lenders was asking questions like, we're charging to help the borrower fill out the Form 1919, or we're charging a packaging fee to assess the affiliation, which the SBA doesn't require, or we don't have to do on our conventional loans. So each lender was coming up with a rationale as to why they're charging a packaging fee. And I had mentioned or had suggested to Diana that, in these proposed rule changes, if they would just make it black and white and not make it as gray or that it would help everyone. And her comment back, which was surprising, there were a lot of public comments relative to packaging fees as this is an industry where it's a transactional industry and there are people, loan brokers, business brokers that assist the borrower, trusted advisors in identifying the right SBA lender and putting a package together. And I don't take anything away from that. What my challenge is still too much ambiguity. And so one of my colleagues...
Let me stop you there. We're going to go through the specific things after a couple poll questions. But where are we in this process? The lenders, the industry made a bunch of public comments. SBA is digesting this. Did Diana give us a glimpse of how the new regulation will work, and when will it be released?
She did not, but Brent Cherlino had written a position paper on the proposed changes, and I'd like to go over those if we can.
Sure.
Number one, the two-master rule. Today, as a lender service provider, I probably could charge the applicant a packaging fee and the lender a processing fee, but to me that smells, and we're not going to do it. Tomorrow, or after the rule changes go into effect, there'll be a line where you can't work for the borrower or the applicant and the lender, so you're going to have to pick one side or the other. So that's one rule change that I think is healthy. The second ones are going to be the lender can charge a fee, call it a packaging fee, call it what you want, but it's going to be limited to $2,500 for loans up to $350,000 and $5,000 for loans over $350,000. So it's going to be black and white.
I'm sorry, do you see FBA moving off of those maximums? Is there any leeway there, or are those pretty much set?
Well, no, I don't. I think that's pretty much set. The second critical area is the agents outside of the lenders can charge, and that's going to be limited to 2.5% or $7,000, whichever is less, for loans up to $350,000, 2% or $15,000, whichever is less, for loans up to $1 million, and 1.5% or $30,000, whichever is less, for loans over $1 million. So you think about this, Bob, and this industry is starting to get more regulation. We have $30 billion worth of loans. When this started, or the ills or the abuses started, it was people charging outrageous fees. And Diana said, if you look at it, the borrower's paying a guarantee fee of up to 3.75%. The borrower's paying a packaging fee of X. The borrower's paying a referral fee of X. Then you get a prime plus 2.75 in a rising rate environment. What's the effective APR when you add all those fees in? And my takeaway is they are concerned, as they should be, on what the borrower's paying for access to capital. And I think that going forward, if we can make this a little bit more black and white, and we don't have to interpret it, because when you interpret these rules, you can devise ways around them, and that's where the abuse starts. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm hoping these regulations pass, and we'll all be better lenders as a result.
Chuck, my understanding and my takeaway when I hear these sessions is SBA isn't really that concerned about a loan service provider receiving a fee from the lender.
Not as much, no, absolutely. It's all about the borrower.
What they're very concerned about is what is the borrower being charged.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to the smell test. If you're working for the borrower and you're working for the bank, today you may be able to do that, tomorrow you won't. If you're charging way too much, you're not going to be allowed to. I'll give you a quick example. When I first started in this industry, we had an ag lender in Pennsylvania where we charged that high fee, and they paid it. And you know something? That was the last loan that ag lender made because of those high fees. So right. It's all a function of what's good for the industry. And I welcome changes.
Nice recap. Let's go to the poll questions. Can your loan agent charge more than one packaging fee if he or she provides more than one service? Answer is, gentlemen, how do we do? Chuck, are you there?
Oh, yes, I'm looking at the results. Okay. No, well, basically, the SBA wants to capture all of the fees on the Form 159. If your packaging fee is your packaging fee. You shouldn't have multiple people charging a packaging fee.
Absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
you can have a referral fee and a packaging fee on the 159, but not two different packaging
Let's
fees.
put this into context also. Where lenders get in trouble isn't necessarily completing the form, is they're not doing the form at all.
That's correct.
And they're not disclosing anything, and that's where SBA has issues. I would not be too concerned right now if you're at 3,500, if you're over 350,000, if you're 3,500 or 4,000, and you're disclosing it. I don't see SBA criticizing you. Where you will be criticized if you are not disclosing anything, and we're double dipping. We're getting that packaging fee from the borrower, and the loan service provider is also getting a packaging fee from the lender.
And the other thing to consider is if we as a lender service provider are charging the bank a fee for processing, and the bank or the lender is charging the borrower a fee for packaging, what's that entail? I mean, the SOP states that a packaging fee is to help prepare a business plan, cash flow projections, other documents related to the applicant.
SOP on how they define packaging. Now, this is all going to change, and I agree with you, Chuck. I think it's going to change for the better. But as of March 21st, 2019, what particular takeaway are you telling everybody on this call so that they don't get themselves in trouble? Just give us one or two takeaways that they should be doing today.
Don't work for the borrower and don't work for the bank at the same time.
Good. Yeah, and make sure that borrower is not paying the packaging fee to a lender service provider and also to an outside agent.
Correct.
One packaging fee. And the lender has don't be bullied by the loan brokers. Some of my best friends are loan brokers, but it's the lender who approves this. You're approving this transaction. So I love the smell test, and does this seem reasonable? As a lender, do you assist the applicant in preparing a business plan or cash flow projection? And this is what SBA considers part of packaging, correct, Chuck?
That's correct. That comes right out of the SOP.
What is your best practice? Do you think a lender should be doing this type of work, or?
Me personally, I do not think, I mean, as a former lender, why would I want to help a borrower prepare his or her projections? That's something for a borrower to do with their trusted advisor. Now, if a trusted advisor is doing it, that's different. But if I'm lending you money and I'm helping you with the projections, that smells to me.
Yesterday was SBDC Day, and SBDCs are a great resource. They have a budget, and they want to sit down with borrowers, and they want to do this stuff. Do you recommend that as an alternative?
Absolutely. They are a great SBA partner, and the idea is to get an efficient system to where you're giving your borrower a quick no and a direction to go help the SBDC help you to get the loan packaged correctly. That's an excellent idea, and we do that quite often.
I tend to side with you, Chuck. I don't think the lender should be in the business of doing the plan or the projections. No. Lenders have a higher duty of responsibility for underwriting projections on an SBA loan than they do a conventional loan of similar size, because that's the first thing the Inspector General is going to look at in the event of an early default is what went wrong. And what did and was the lender prudent in analyzing those projections? And it's sort of tough when the lender has their fingers in preparing that spreadsheet.
And it happens, and I just personally think it doesn't pass that smell test.
Very good. But Chuck and I aren't saying you can't do it. The SOP says you can do it. But I think
the SOP states, yeah.
I think it's prudent, though, for you to take a step back outside of the heat of battle and say, should we be doing this? Is this something we should?
Correct. Yep.
What do you do for the applicant to support the packaging fee? You can choose more than one. We complete an application. We're doing the business plan. We're doing cash flow projections, and we're preparing other loan documents. Very good. And those, again, these are all legitimate, correct, Chuck?
Absolutely, they are. And it goes back to it being a little the ambiguity in this, in what you're doing for the packaging fee, I think will be eliminated if those new rules pass. It'll be a fee. it'll be capped, and you can call it what you want. You don't have to dance around the issue of, am I helping with the 1919? Am I helping with affiliation review? What am I doing for this packaging fee? It's going to be a blank fee for that lender.
Very good. This is a recap of where we are today, correct, Chuck?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so this is where we are today.
This is what's proposed. This is what's proposed.
What we are, what is coming. Maybe I should read this. Okay, very good. And again, we don't know when it is, but obviously those of you who are interested in this are dialing in, and as soon as we have information, we'll get it to you. Chuck, I hear rumors of a new 5057. Any glimpse, any tease by SBA?
No, it was basically, it's coming out. There wasn't anything that they mentioned that was surprising. So kind of vanilla.
I am finishing. Let me talk about SBA BDO compensation. I know a lot of you submitted us your responses. This has been on me. I've been in spreadsheet hell, if I can say that. But I am going to have it done this week. But what do you think? Do you think and this is more of a compensation trend question. Do you think compensation for lenders is in line with industry? And what I'm saying is it's out of whack what it's growing. It's steady. It's not growing enough, or it's been flat since 2015. Chuck, in your travels, what do you see?
Well, keep in mind that the SBA industry is aging. We're having $30 million worth of new loans.
Careful.
I know, and I'm sitting here, one of the aging ones. But compensation, I've discovered in the last couple of years, when we hire a closer, we're having to pay $10,000, $15,000 more than we would a couple of years ago. So there's a shortage of staff. There's an increase in demand. It's going to drive the prices up.
And I love it. It's everyone's all over the board. For those of you who don't think you're making enough, it's too slow. And for your managers out there, it's growing too rapidly. I think we should have broken it down by class job description, but good. Again, this is all individual markets, geography, etc. And these other reports. By the way, I do have captured all your email addresses. You will all be receiving a copy of your specific job description, and Michael will get those out to you. We're really going to shoot for tomorrow. If not, we'll get it done. I just got to get it done over the weekend. So that's where we are on that. By the way, we touched on this briefly. The notice is in the GoToWebinar dashboard, and these are the new revised transcripts and also new contact information. So use that. Chuck, I have to be clear. I haven't reviewed this. Anything, just an updated form, anything new about this form?
No, it's not. It's just,
okay. But use the new forms. And of course, there we are on secondary market. The Inspector General, and again, I'm behind because I'm in this spreadsheet, but the Inspector General just released an audit, I believe it was on Monday, reviewing the secondary market program. If you want a glimpse of that, just Google SBA Inspector General. I'm going to be writing about it next week. And nothing too shocking about that. But what they're concerned about is if the loan is repurchased from the secondary market and then it goes into a liquidation default, that the lender is on top of that. And there were some recommendations at Oak Grove and Inspector General to put all this stuff together. So that's going to be coming out as well. I want to congratulate the following individuals for being named Coleman 2019 SBA BDO. Go to one more slide, guys, and then I'll come back to this. And there are the winners. And this is a fun competition. And what we do, this is the second year in a row we've done that. We ask for nominations. We don't charge for this. The sponsor is Government Loan Solutions. They go down, they pick up a registration fee, and the event, winners have to pay their own way to get there. But we had a great time last year in Napa. This is going to be at Lowe's in Miami Beach. By the way, I got 2, maybe 3 openings if you're interested in attending. Price is $12.95. Just contact me. And what we do on this, Chuck, the content are these people. They're all asked to make a 10 to 15-minute presentation in SBA BDO if you're attending. And one of these spouses is at SBA BDO, so they're going to be part of the program. And the quality of these individuals is great, and they're great ambassadors for the SBA lending industry.
It's worth going to because they'll share some of their secrets and how they've been successful.
Yeah, and what we do, and guess what we did? We asked last year's winners to judge this year's winners. So if your name's not on the list, it's not my fault. But please reapply for next year. When we sat down with this, we were going to only have 5 winners. Chuck, I can't even tell you. We had a number of entries, and we decided just to bump it up to 8. So that's going to be fun.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Let's go back to confidence levels. I always try to follow these. Bottom line, small business is still optimistic. They're also specifically optimistic when it comes to their own business, not necessarily for the rest of Main Street and the economy. Hey, we got a couple of questions real quick, and let me fill those in because I respect your time. Filling out, these are all questions about from on the packaging. Filling out SBA forms, is that considered part of packaging today, March 2019?
Yes.
Paul says, then what fee should I charge for a packaging fee, March 2019? What do you recommend that he does?
Up to $2,500 and itemize it.
Okay. Oh, you can go over $2,500.
You can, but I would go up to $2,500.
But you're also saying itemize those under $2,500. And
yes.
Paul,
have it in your file.
And again, don't get caught up about, well, what do I charge for this individual who spent 5 hours preparing loan documents? Do I charge $30 an hour, $80 an hour? I would do a quick calculation. I would put that in. SBA is not criticizing the lenders yet on what that hourly rate. Again, SBA is criticizing lenders when they don't do it. I have not heard of any feedback of a lender who came up with an hourly rate. My thing, I know Lance is different than me. My thing is I would charge what your paralegal charges you. I don't know.
And again, Bob Carpenter or Linda Riley, the chief of the 504 and the 7A, reach out to them, ask these questions because it is gray. It's very, very gray, and people don't have a black and white answer here.
Larry asked a question. I love the question. I'm going to refer this to Chuck. If the projections don't make sense to the lender, what do we do?
We don't make the loan. I mean, that's just prudent lending. Come on. If they don't make sense to you, why would you consider that loan? Because you have a guarantee? No.
Some of our borrowers are unsophisticated, though, Chuck. So there may be language differences. There may be.
Well, that's when you would encourage them to go to a trusted advisor to help. And that trusted advisor would be an accountant, an SBDC, or someone that can help them with the projections. If they don't make sense, then they need help with it. But I wouldn't make the loan until you're comfortable with the project. That just doesn't make sense.
One of the best regional conferences out there is in Mid-America. It attracts lenders from all over the country. I used to rattle off all the states, but I know they go from New Mexico. I believe also Louisiana's. Yeah, I know Louisiana's part of it. So this is a great event, Corpus Christi. Very nominal. Get you and your team there. You mentioned Jennifer. She's doing another event, America West, getting it off the ground in Rancho Mirage, Southern California. And these are the other events that are there. Obviously, NADCO and NAGLE. And make a note. Let's make sure that we get those on next time. Hey, we're starting our spring training courses. Lance and I are refilming everything. We're refilming the new loan closer and underwriter, and we're going to have fun. We're going to have consistent case studies for those. So I think that will be a fun event. And with that, at 25 minutes after, and we have, these are some of our upcoming webinars on it. Anyway, hey, Chuck, thank you for pitch hitting for Lance. I know he has some family issues he needs to resolve, so we certainly said take care of that, and you were very gracious on that. Send your questions, anything regarding SBA. Thank you so much.